Hello, and welcome back to your own podcast. I am your host, as always, Ozzy. It's kind of been a while since I put out an episode, and the reason is that I've been quite busy the past couple of weeks. Some major stuff has been happening. And one of them has been, obviously, the Persian New Year, or some people might be familiar with it as Nowruz. Nowruz was actually this month. It was on March 19th. I think it was around 8 p.m. or something. It's been kind of a big deal, obviously, and we've celebrated it. And another thing that's just kind of like important to me has been the fact that I'm almost finishing my term 8 in nursing school. So I've been really busy with a lot of assignments and quizzes and getting kind of prepared for my final exam and final assessments and things like that. Whoa! Yeah, I'm basically done, I would say. And it kind of feels nice to be almost done with school. I still have like one term left, but that is just kind of preceptorship. So I don't have to go to school. There are no assignments, no final exam really. So pretty much I'm a free man. So with school ending and New Year kind of like falling around the same time, I've been thinking about some resolutions, some, planning that I will kind of get into it as we start the podcast. So to start, for those of you who might not be familiar with Nowruz, it's basically the direct translation, as no means new and ruz means day, so a new day. It kind of marks the beginning of spring, and it's celebrated by millions of people around the world. It's been kind of like a tradition of for the past 3,000 years or something. So it's kind of a big deal. It kind of marks like the renewal, a time of renewal, reflection, and like finding new hope for the year that's coming or for the year that's ahead. But this is kind of like I've been doing a little bit research in terms of like when was it founded and just kind of some details like that. And this has been my favorite part so far. And basically it says that Nowruz was kind of given by the Iranian astronomer to see, means the first day of the official New Year. Was always like the day on which the sun entered Aries before noon. And another important thing that I found out was that in February 2010, the United Nations finally and officially recognized the International Day of Nowruz. So, it's kind of a big deal to a lot of people who do celebrate Nowruz. So it's kind of interesting for me to kind of like figure this stuff out. I didn't even know about this stuff. There are a lot of like traditional customs that like when Nowruz comes around, people do like, I don't know, you might have seen the fire ritual dances called like Charshamba Suri thing. You might have seen that. There are a lot of gift exchanges. You visit family, relatives, and the best part of it is that they love to give you gifts and money if you're obviously younger. And having a lot of traditional foods, dishes prepared when you go visit family members and your relatives during Nowruz. And I think the most well-known one that a lot of people might be familiar with is like putting symbolic objects together on a table as well. Like it's kind of called haft scene table. Like all these symbolic items basically, they all start with the letter scene. That's why it's called half scene. So I mean seven scene, or scene as in like, I guess a direct translation of it would be like the letter S. Maybe all these items start with the letter S, basically, in a way. We have sabze, which is basically grass. It's a symbol of rebirth and renewal of nature. And then we have something called samanu. It's kind of like I would kind of say like a wheat pudding kind of thing. It represents fertility and sweetness of life. And then we have serke, which is basically vinegar, and it kind of represents patience and like, aging. And then we have senjet. I don't really know how to do a translation for this one, but I will put the picture somewhere here. It's kind of like a symbol for love and affection. And then we have sib, which is apple, and it kind of symbolizes health and beauty. And then we have sir, which is garlic. I know it's quite odd to have garlic on your table, but it is for good health. And then we have something called somar, which is basically a crushed spice of berries, and it symbolizes like the sunrise and a new day and kind of spice of life. There are some other stuff that we put on the table around the half scene, that are like, throughout the years they've been added, but it's not like part of the original half scene that I just told you guys about. They also put mirror, and it kind of like symbolizes the sky and basically a self-reflection as the new year begins. It's good to do some self-reflection. And then we also put some candles, bring light to the half scene, obviously. And then we also like paint eggs sometimes, at least. I know in my family, like we always boil the eggs and then put some like the skin of the onions like with it, so it changes the color of the egg from white to a bit of like orange-ish kind of color. And yeah, we put that also on the table with half scene, and it kind of represents again fertility. And some people, not a lot of people do this one, but some people do put out coins, obviously new coins, and it kind of symbolizes wealth and prosperity, and yeah, hoping that money will come to the house later. I mentioned that like it is a tradition to visit family and friends, which is like one of the biggest highlights of Nowruz actually. Like you anticipate and you're like wait to like, after like New Year literally starts, like, okay, tomorrow we're gonna go to your grandparents and go to your aunts, your uncles, and things like that. But also, you kind of like visit your more like distant relatives as well. A chance to rekindle like lost relationships or old relationships. If you're younger, actually, it really is the best because everyone, as I told you, want to give you gifts and money. I think I remember this like one Nowruz where I don't remember how old I was exactly, but I think I was in grade 6 or maybe 7. I don't really know. But I think I collected so much money because we went to so many relatives. We went to visit so many relatives that year that I collected so much money that I literally bought a whole new phone with all that money. So thank you all. And kind of like depending on what part of like when you go visit, depending on what part of like Iran specifically, because I'm Persian like you are, they have like different delicacies, and they kind of treat their guests with different kind of food depending on where you go, but it's like a whole feast literally. It's amazing. They're all like fruits and nuts and baked goods, and yeah, you gain a whole lot of weight during those 13 days, I would say. So watch out. Not the best. But one of the most famous Nowruz food or dishes is basically sabzi polo with mahi. Sorry, sabzi polo with mahi. My farsi just came out. But it basically is rice with some dried herbs and then fish. I've seen people like enjoy it with, devouring it basically. But I have seafood allergies, so I've never really been able to eat any. But I've seen people's like facial expression on like how much they love it and enjoying it, because obviously it's made with a lot of love. So it's great. Talking about this stuff, it kind of reminds me of like a memory. I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I think I might have been 5 or 6. It's kind of like a tradition when New Year is going to start, everyone just goes like New Year shopping, buying new clothes, new shoes, and new stuff. And I think I remember this one year where I was like 5 or 6 years old. For the first time ever, I bought like heels. They weren't like heels obviously. I don't even know how high was the heel, maybe like 1.5 inch or whatever, less than 3 probably. They were like this white pearl color kind of like heels. And so like my mom let me buy one and wear one. And then yeah, I so for that specific year, I think my mom remembers this best, but that specific year, I'm like, my family originally are from the northern part of Iran. So we were supposed to go visit my mom's aunt because she lived there. And then this entire time, I was just waiting to wear my heels. Literally, had it in my bag and took it with me. And we went there, and I was just, because obviously you can't, my mom didn't let me wear any of this new stuff until Nowruz, right? So I was just waiting and waiting till I can wear it. We got there like 2 days ahead, and I was just like going nuts, literally going nuts. But then I remember like, I think an hour, 2 hours before Nowruz, I finally got to wear my new clothes and my new shoes. And I was super excited. Literally was jumping around and like running around in the yard in my heels. First time ever wearing them. Yeah, so it was a whole lot of happy, and weird enough, like that was a really big deal for me at that point, at that age. Like, just, can anyone relate to this? Like, first time ever wearing heels. It was a big deal. Yeah, so that's kind of like an overview of like what Nowruz is, and what things we usually traditionally do. New Year usually kind of motivates most people to do some self reflection, on their life, on their decisions of the past, come up with some sort of a resolution. So if you're like listening or watching this episode, I mean, regardless of like when you celebrate New Year, whether you're celebrating Nowruz or it's like around Christmas time, Chinese New Year, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's never too late to reflect, to do some self reflection, and, come up with your own resolution for, let's just say, the next 6 months or whatever. But, so it's never too late. Even if you're listening right now or watching it right now, it's never too late to, maybe feel inspired, feel motivated, and want to change up some stuff in your life. It's never too late. It kind of made it really easier for me because I kind of started, like, I've done this before, but every year I try to change some stuff depending on how the year went, obviously. So for me, to make it easier, I kind of divide it in like I kind of divide the major part of my life into 3 to 4 categories. So you have your health, and then you have relationships, and then you have your work. And as for me, I have school, obviously. And then for that as well, you can kind of like divide your relationship into like having your romance, family relationships, and then the ones with your friends. And then for health, obviously, physical and mental health are both really important. And then you kind of have your school / university, or college, whatever you do in terms of education. And you can kind of like categorize that as qualitative and versus quantitative, as in like qualitative, like how you spend your days if you're like in college, your in university experience, your school experience, and then versus the quantitative part where it's like academic achievements, and your grades, how much you study, things like that. And then in terms of work, you can kind of like maybe divide that up again further into money and like leveling up in a way. You can kind of say growth or leveling up. And you can like grab a piece of paper, kind of like write this stuff down, categorize all this stuff, and do some self-reflection for each category. Kind of evaluate, see like what areas you kind of need to maybe like invest more time in it. Maybe you haven't been able to invest that time in the past year. I think in that way, at least for me, it's really easier. It's much easier to set goals and be like, okay, maybe I really wanted to, but I was not able to spend as much time with my friends this year because I was busy with school. So I rate myself at like a 40% or a 30% for that category. And, for the year coming, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I want to put more time for my friends and I want to like catch up with my friends more often. At least this method has been kind of like working out for me in the past years, kind of like helping evaluate, set goals, and kind of makes my goals a lot more clear. And you can kind of track your progress within each category as well. And I mean, obviously, like being committed to your New Year plan is really important. It's important to like make these goals small and manageable, put deadlines for them. But it also is important to keep them mentally try to be more flexible, because sometimes some things happen in life that it's out of your control. And things don't always go as planned. So you don't want to feel like extremely disappointed if something didn't really go as you planned it. So try to also keep that one in mind. This is a strategy that I came up with and it's been working out for me. It's been really helpful in the past. But if you have done something, if you have a new strategy, if there's been a strategy that has been working out for you, in terms of like reflection and resolution, make sure you comment it down below. And we all can help each other. Personally, like I've kind of given myself, like I've thought about it, like using the same method, I've kind of like thought about it, kind of try to evaluate myself, do some self-reflection. Because of my nursing school, like ever since I kind of started it, I haven't been in like the best mental health state. It's really intense. It's like back to back. There's a lot of assignments. There are a lot of deadlines, and there's a lot of waking up too early, like 5 a.m, going to clinical, going to the hospital, and really you have to satisfy your instructors and do the things that they like you to do. So it's just been a lot of pressure, at least for me. But with my school almost ending, I've been thinking that, okay, like I haven't been able to spend much time with my friends in the past year or with my family in the past year. I've been really busy studying, and I also haven't been able to really work on my health. Like the freshman 15 has been every year, unfortunately, with nursing school. At least for me, like getting out of that headspace that I need to do something for myself has been really difficult, like balancing the school life, school and personal life. It's been really difficult, and I haven't like been enjoying things as much as I should have. So that is kind of my resolution. Try to catch up with friends. I think it'll help a lot with my mental health as well, and working on my health. I'm hoping like, as I make this promise to myself, as I make this commitment to myself and to you guys, like I can also, we can keep track of things through these videos. And yeah, the stories that we kind of go over. This is really important because I haven't been able to really work the way I wanted to work in the past couple of years. But as soon as I graduate, my third resolution is to get a job as an RN, a registered nurse, for those who don't know, and really make money because this girl here has studied to this point. So I really need to make some money, and I think it'll help overall with like a lot of things at least that's been going on in my life. I kind of wanted to like really emphasize on this. I think it's really important to keep consistent with your plans, guys. And like regardless of whatever you do, you have to enjoy it. You have to have joy, and you have to enjoy what you're doing, whatever is your resolution. Try to make it enjoyable. Like, don't force yourself to do something that you're gonna hate, because it's not really gonna help you with the consistency either. You gotta do the things that you love to do to be able to do it. It like self-motivates you on its own. Like if you say, oh, I want to do this thing, and maybe you keep doing it for a while, but you're like, okay, I'm not really enjoying this, you can modify it, you can change it and customize it and make it your own. So don't really think there are like these little boxes that you have to like check off and, you know, do it in a restricted kind of way. Yeah, make sure it's fun and enjoyable, and so you can actually remain motivated and do it easier. Yeah, I think that's kind of all for today's episode. It feels good to actually be back after a while. I've just been kind of tired with all the schoolwork and everything, but it's my last term, so I really was trying to push it and do my best in the last couple of weeks. So, you know, I get the best results out of it. So I'm sorry if I have not been around for the past couple of weeks, but I'm going to be posting more often from now. My schedule is a bit less heavy now. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching, staying with me to this point. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. And I'm wishing you all a happy Nowruz.